the crop system in Tembache, well, actually it's a protection system. And for about in summer for a couple of months, no one is allowed to stay in Tembache and do a different activities that affected the crops. Since long time, I don't know when, but means from our ancestor, it's the system that, well, it's just keep generating, hand over to the generation to generations, that no one is there. Well, these days they built a lot of lodges in Tembache, and people like to stay there for all time. But before there was no lodges, nothing, and Tembache is just like a farming land. So Tembache is the only the place where we can grow a barley in the entire Kumbu. And even we grow very good potatoes up there. So that's why still the people don't stay in Tembache for a couple of months. And by then, no one is allowed to keep the animals.
During that season?
During the season, in the summer. I mean, like a couple of months in the summer. They are not allowed to keep animals around Tembache and Periche. They have to move higher up. I mean, beyond the Imjakola and the Tuklakola, They have to go out of those.
Were the lodge owners upset that they had to leave Tembache in the summer? Was that a problem?
I think so, because, well, these days they own a lot of property in their lodges. So it's a problem, sort of problem, but they are still following the system, so that's good, I think.
Mm-hmm. And how does that knowledge get passed down?
Actually, we experience it, since we are children, we learn it because, well, we are from there, and, well, everyone in this region knows that, well, no one allowed to stay in Tembache for a couple of months in summer because of the crop. It's only because of the crops, I think, we grow there.
And that's barley and potatoes?
Not necessarily the potatoes, because we grow the potatoes everywhere in Kumbu. But I think it's because of the barley.
And what do you use the barley for?
Barley, well, that one makes good sampa. Sampa is the roasted barley flour. That one goes very well with tea. I mean, we can make a porridge, instant porridge, and things like that. And that one is the main staple for the Tibetan people as well. Used to be, I mean.
Is it traded at all with, do people come over from Tibet to buy barley?
No. Actually, we are still sort of importing the barley flour from Tibet. People buy a lot of those things.
And does that come over the pass
here?
Yeah,
Nangpala. Because, well, for about Tembache, it is quite a small area. Only few families own a land there, so the other families have to buy the barley flour with Tibetan or means from lowlander.
What months is that when you have to leave Tembache?
July and August.
How many people are grazing above Feriche?
These days, the yak raiser family, the number is getting less and less because, well, they don't make good enough money out of the yaks. I think that's the reason. And it's quite a hard job, so still there's quite a many families from Pangbache, they are raising yaks, and only few families from Kundi and Kumjung, they do it.
What will happen as a result of not having as many yak herders and families raising yaks?
Well, the problem is, every lodges, they are using yak dung for heating. And if there's no yaks, it means there's no dungs, and they have to depend on the forest. And there will be more pressure on the forest, I think.
Is there any movement by the government to help subsidize yak farmers?
I don't know yet. I don't think so.
Yeah. Do you, as a community, talk about the problems of losing yak herders?
Losing it? Yeah, people
what
is
do people
little
say
bit
about it?
Well, they are a bit worried that they may lost the yaks. Or means they may lose the system to how to work with the eggs and things like that. But still, there's not. There's no one really taking steps to preserve those things, So that's one.
How old are you?
I'm 45 years.
And how many yak herders do you remember from when you were a boy compared to now?
Well, actually, the number is getting less, that's for sure, but not that much.
And how many more or less are there today?
I think if I have to talk about Kundi, we lost like 4 or 5 yak raiser families already since I was younger, I think. So the number is getting a bit less, but not very rapidly.
And is it maybe 100 yak herder families, 50, 20? Do you have an estimate?
Pretty about from Kundi, now there's only 4 or 5 yak herding families left from Kundi, and there used to be more. And even from Kumjung, there's just that much, but still people from Port Say and Pangboche, they are working on it, but I'm not sure how long.
Yeah. What are some of the most critical things, the things that you've learned over the years?
Well, the thing is, actually, to look after the animals, to move higher up. It means when we are raising the eggs, we can't stay in main home for around whole year. We have to go higher up. And we have to make a lot of hay for the winter and for the spring. And we got land for growing the hay in higher pasture, but if no one is interested, then there's no fertilizer, and it doesn't grow the hay. That's one problem.
So if there are fewer yaks, there isn't enough fertilizer to help the hay grow.
Yeah. That's one of the problems, I think.
What are some of the other problems?
Well, yak is one of the main packing animals in Khumbu, and still, many family, they keep the yak for loading, but if there's no female, then there's no bird, and some days.
The people I'm traveling with, they've been coming to the Khumbu for 25 years.
Yes.
And they are all very surprised at the number of burrows here. How is that changing things?
I think it's, up to now, it's really good means of transportation in Khumbu. And since they built roads everywhere in Annapurna, the mills lost a job and they bring it to Khumbu, so...
Do the burrows compete with the yaks for food?
They doesn't go beyond Nemchi up to now. So yak doesn't go below Nemchi, so it really doesn't bother. The meals are really good because we have to bring everything in the airplane or by a porter, but the meals are helping a lot, I think.
How come?
Because they can carry twice much as a man, and they goes all the way down to the road here in Solu. And they bring the stuffs up to Nemchi, Lukla. So, yeah.
Can they carry more than the zokpas?
No, same amount, I think.
Same amount, yeah. Why are they better than the zokpas?
They are faster.
Yeah.
The yak raiser, in the summer, probably about in Khumbu, they have a small hut everywhere. And one of the hardest thing for the young generations, they can't stay away from the farm, just raising the eggs up there. So that's the problem, I think.
They want to be at their home. They don't
at
want to
their
leave.
home, and I think.
Is part of that because they don't have cell service? They don't have internet in the mountains? Do you think?
I don't think that way, but just stay oneself looking after the eggs. It is quite boring. So.
Yeah. What do you do to entertain yourself while you're looking after the yaks?
Well, I haven't stayed with the yaks for a long time, so
When you were a boy, what would you do to entertain yourself when you were with the yaks?
Well, just talking with the friends, and in the afternoon we all get together and play dancing. So.
What were the songs about?
Well, usually those are the Sherpa folk song. Yeah, they do a lot of dancing. Maybe you have seen that. We just go arm to arm and dance with our feet. So.
Do they differ from village to village?
No, it actually means Pretty much in Kumbu, it's about the same, and no one really create a new songs. It's just like hand over from generation to generation. So the song is same all the time.
And are they funny songs or serious?
I don't
or
think so.
stories?
Mainly it's about the nature and things like that. I think.
Are children today in the Kumbu, even if they aren't herders, are they still learning those songs?
They do. Well, these days, all the parents, they push them to learn the culture and things like that. Sherpas are a bit conscious about saving the culture these days.
What kind of things would you eat when you were out in the fields?
Mainly, pretty about the food means, I would say still, everywhere in Kumbu, means anywhere in Kumbu, more than 50% of our food are made up out of the potatoes because we grow the main crop in Kumbu is the potatoes. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And where do the best potatoes come in the Kumbu?
Well, actually, these days we got a good seeds from I don't know where they bring but we grow good potatoes anywhere in Kumbu. Mainly, it depends on the weather as well, but.
Have you seen the growing season change at all with climate change?